So I've only been playing Hunter Call of the Wild for about a year now. When I first started the game, I had no clue what I was doing. So today's video is going to give you an introductory guide to skills inside of Hunter Call of the Wild and also perks. Going to help you make the right choices whenever you're choosing all of these inside of the game. Anyway, let's jump in this video and let's go over what perks and what skills we should be choosing whenever we're leveling up inside of the Hunter Call of the Wild. So inside of the Hunter Call of the Wild, we are given 22 total skill points for perk points, and we are also given 22 total points for skill points as well. So the first one we're going to go over right here inside of the game are the skill points. We'll go over each one of the sections. So whenever you get a level up, you're going to automatically receive a skill point, and as you progress further on, it's going to be every other level that you receive a skill point, and then eventually it'll be down to every third level that you will get a skill point. By the end, like I said, you'll have 22 skill points to spend. And if you don't like the skills that you currently have inside of each section, what you can do is actually spend money to reset your skills. So right now it's going to cost me $42,000 to reset my skills inside of the game. So first thing you should make note of is the fact that we have two different types of skill trees. One is the stalker's tree, as you can see right here. Then we have the ambusher tree as well. But the first one we're going to go over is the stalker tree. And for each point you spend, you have to spend enough points to get to the next tier. And each tier requires an additional amount of points as you level up. So the first one we're going to be looking at is the locate tracks. By choosing and placing 1 point in here, level 1 will increase the directional tracking cone, and it becomes more accurate as you're tracking animals. If you're just a new player starting the game and you don't have any additional packs, such as the bloodhound or the dog inside, any of the dogs inside of the game, locating tracks is going to be one of the key things you're going to pick. And right off the bat, you're going to go ahead and drop 3 points in there. The second level increases the distance as which tracks are visible when highlighted. Third level is the diagonal tracking cone is now even narrower, and tracks can be detected even farther away. So what this essentially means is the fact that whenever you're searching for tracks, it will allow you to see even farther ahead whenever tracks belong to one that you're tracking. So in the event that you're looking for a blood trail and the blood is farther away, then by having a level 3 on the locate tracks, it will actually allow you to see tracks, blood, and all of those things that apply to a particular animal you may have shot. Once you get all the points you need into tier 0, then you can go to tier 1. Tier 1 is going to give you 3 different options, and that is hardened, it only happens when it rains, and then we have track knowledge. Track knowledge is the one that's going to want to be checking because level 1 reveals information about the animal's gender, whether it's a male or a female, by the footprints and vocalizations. So if you spook an animal or if an animal is nearby with a mating call, you can actually tell the difference whether it is a male or a female and whether or not you need to be tracking that animal. Level 2 reveals more information at approximate animal group size when investigating knee zone, zone tracks, and the animal's approximate health when you are investigating blood trails. The level 2 option is actually really nice because I've actually shot animals or gotten a poor shot off on an animal, and having the knowledge to be able to track whether or not the animal's health is actually dropping down significantly makes a difference between really having to search for an animal, or if you're going to actually lose an animal because they're not bleeding very well because of a bad shot. Level 3 is actually really nice as well. It reveals information about the animal's approximate weight when you're investigating footprints, and also it reveals fur type when used in conjunction with another skill point, that is disturbed vegetation. We'll go over the other ones as well, though these are really insignificant when it comes to actually hunting inside of the game. So the second one down here, right here, we have is only happy when it rains. Only happy when it rains, and it decreases your visibility in foggy weather and decreases your visibility in rainy weather. And what that essentially means is that when it's foggy outside or when it's raining outside, animals have a much harder time seeing you. And then the bottom one we have here, it gives you exploring the wild has major survivor, and it gives you an additional 15% health. That way, if you're getting attacked by animals like wolves, I always die to wolves. Or if you get charged by an animal, or an animal becomes aggressive, that potentially has the chance to let you live a little bit longer when you're getting attacked by animals, pretty much. Then once we unlock tier 2, we are greeted with an additional 3 skills. That first one at the top is called Connect the Dots. And Connect the Dots, each time a track is investigated, it adds a little trail line or a little dotted line that will automatically connect to the previous track that you were searching and will help you actually be able to find animals on the map much easier. By using that, you can use hunter mate between each of the tracks of the active trail, the animal or the animal you're tracking. Trail direction is also indicated with the arrow, and then investigated tracks that were not dropped in consecutive order have a dotted line that is drawn between the two that lets you know that each of those tracks belong to the same animal. All right, next one we have right here is soft feet. And pretty much what this is, it reduces any noise that you generate whenever you're going through foliage, like grass, leaves, and things of that nature. Level 2 further reduces that noise, reduces the noise generated when you're moving through larger vegetation like trees or bushes and shrubs and things like that. Then we have our next skill right here. And this is actually an active skill, which requires you to actually press a button to enable it. But basically what this does, it allows you to be a meteorologist pretty much. Extensive studies in the art of meteorology has unlocked the ability to make accurate predictions about local weather. Level 1 unlocks the ability to approximate when the weather will change into what state, for example, when it goes from clear to rainy. Further extends the ability to predict weather changes in the future. That is level 2. Honestly, the bottom one there is just absolutely a waste. Those two right there on tier 2 are the ones you should be picking up. Soft feet and connect the dots. Then we have tier 3. And tier 3, the options we have is innate triangulation. We have improvised blind, and then we have endurance as well. The endurance one at the bottom is pretty much, it increases the endurance you have so that your heart rate rises slower when you are moving, and it falls away faster whenever you're standing still. So whenever you're using a gun, your heart rate, if you use it in steady mode for an extended period of time, it causes your heart rate to rise. And at the end of that, you'll be, your heart rate will really be high and you won't be able to aim smoothly. By having endurance enabled, it will allow your heart rate to lower down that much quicker whenever you're out of aim mode and out of holding your breath. So grabbing endurance is absolutely key when it comes to making shots. If you have improvised blind, basically what this means is whenever you're in a bush or shrubbery or things like that, it prevents animals from seeing you very clearly. Pretty much what it says is further decreases visibility when inside large bushes or shrubs. So this is another one, basically improvised blind, that you'll be wanting to pick up while you're leveling up. And then we have innate triangulation. Each level decreases the size of an animal vocalization indicator in the world, making it easier to pinpoint the position of an animal that produced the call. Pretty much what this comes down to or breaks down to is the fact that whenever an animal makes noise in the wilderness and you're tracking an animal, that it gives a cone out or a size cone. And by increasing points in this, it makes it that much smaller and makes it easier to track animals. As you can see, I only have currently 1 point inside of the innate triangulation, and that is simply because I don't have enough points to be able to max it out. Then on the final tier right here, this is the one, disturbed vegetation, that you can use in conjunction with our track knowledge. If you decide to spend the points to get disturbed vegetation, you have an indicator on the map whenever you're near vegetation, and it'll allow you to investigate it and determine whether or not what the animal is, male or female, and also what fur type they have also. Our final 2 skills inside of tier 4 are wind prediction. By choosing wind prediction, it allows you to actually determine the wind direction. Each level increases the ability. If you were actually to unlock this and go to level 2, it will allow you to unlock the ability to determine, what the general wind direction is and when that wind direction will change. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend anything on tier 4 unless it was just felt it was absolutely necessary, because by doing so, you'll miss out on so many important skills inside of the ambusher skill tree. Speaking of the ambusher skill tree, let's go over here and choose the ambusher skill tree and determine which ones we need to pick. So starting in tier 0, we have Scent Tinkerer. We have 2 points in here. There are 4 points that you can spend, but you don't want to spend all 4 points because it can prevent you from getting up to tier 3. But level 1 increases the number of uses per canister for all scent lures that you purchase. Level 2 increases the duration of all scent lures. Level 3 increases the range of all scent lures. And then number 4 increases the attraction chance of all scent lures. Pretty much whenever you use a scent lure inside of the game, by leveling up, let's just say you decide to go to level 4, that will increase the chance that you'll get a reaction and attracting an animal whenever you are using a scent lure. Once you drop those first 2 points inside of tier 0, that actually unlocks tier 1. And inside of tier 1, the main one that you're going to be looking at is spotting knowledge, and this increases the amount of information that can be gained whenever you spot an animal. Level 1 reveals information about where the animal is to nearby threats. So if you're too close to an animal or you get close to an animal, by choosing this, it allows you to see that an animal may be nervous or the animal may be fleeing, or it gives you additional information as well. Once you go to level 2 and level 3, reveals information about the approximate health of the animal. And then level 3 reveals information about the approximate trophy rating and weight of the animals you're spotting. Level 3 is an absolute must when it comes to spotting knowledge because it gives you important information whenever you're trying to kill larger animals about their approximate trophy rating, whether they're going to be potentially a gold, diamond, or even fabled if you're hunting legendary animals also. All of that information is necessary whenever you're doing a successful hunt. In the event that you decide to forego anything in the ambusher, this is going to be one of the best options that you use above all others inside of the skill point tree. The other 2 options inside of tier 1 are going to be Dazed and Confused. It has a random chance of attracting an animal that is not usually attracted by a particular scent. In the past, I have used this, but it doesn't seem very effective. So my suggestion would be to forget about this one. And also, the more the merrier. I did choose this one when I initially started playing the game because I wanted that little bit of extra money. That way I could upgrade and buy new guns, new gear while I was hunting. Once I reached level 60, I reset all of my skills and redid my points for the ambusher. Then we get to tier 2, and inside of tier 2 as well, we have 3 additional skills that we can use. The main one is sight spotting. It unlocks the ability to spot animals while in aim mode. Prior to getting this skill, you are only able to highlight animals by using a binoculars or rangefinder. So this is another one of those options that I would really recommend getting, and that is sight spotting. Then we also have fatal attraction. And anyone can use a collar, but it takes a true artist to do it well. Level 1 increases your chance of attracting animals to your location when using collars. Level 2 increases the chance of eliciting a vocal response from nearby animals whenever you're using your collars. So sometimes you may be in a stand or you may be in the woods and you decide to use a collar. If you have a level 2 and you use the collar, it may be an animal is close by and you'll be able to locate that animal by getting them to elicit a call. All right, next point that we have here is impact resistance. So whenever you're hunting for animals and you're climbing cliffs, there may come across the instance that you actually fall off the cliff. And if you fall too hard, you're going to die. This right here actually lowers the damage that you receive if you happen to fall or whenever you're traversing cliffs or going up mountains and things like that. I actually am very favorable of this impact resistance because when you're going down the side of cliffs, it actually prevents you from losing health. I actually find the impact resistant talent very good because it is so useful when you're having to go down and you're tracking an animal. You have to go down the side of a cliff. It prevents you from taking extreme damage, and I have died before trying to go down the side of a cliff or things like that when I was tracking an animal or get into a different position on the map. By having this, it reduces the damage that you actually take. Then we have tier 3, and in tier 3 we have the tag option. Level 1 increases the amount of the traced outline that you have on the animal after you spot it. Level 2 allows you to tag 3 different animals. Honestly, you don't really need this. Personally, I don't use this one. I've never really seen the use of it. But if you feel like you're having trouble spotting animals and losing that animal while you're searching through different herds and things like that, you can always grab this instead of our pack mule down at the bottom. I actually prefer the pack mule because it increases the amount of things that you can carry by 15% inside of the game. You're actually limited. You don't want to use book bags or backpacks, fanny packs, anything of that nature. Because by carrying bags and backpacks, it increases the amount of noise generation that you use while carrying this. So having the pack mule option increases the amount of stuff you can actually carry. Then we have tier 4. Our first option is tier 4 is an active skill. By using Keen Eye, it unlocks the ability to scout surrounding areas. Level 1 increases the revealing, or you get a chance of revealing need zones that are located within proximity of the lookout point. Level 2 adds an additional chance of revealing animal groups on the map that are near the lookout point as well. Honestly, I mean, I see this will be situational. You know, if you're going through a map, you know, spending enough skill points, you'll be able to get this unlocked, going through your lookout points, searching and then activating this ability, and then going back after you're finished and reset all the skills back to what my recommendations are. All right, next option that we have here, it increases the range of callers when used within a 10-yard radius of a lookout point. So pretty much what it does, whatever caller you're using, it increases the range of that caller. If you're at a lookout point, this also applies to tree and tripod stands as well, because you're elevated off the ground. Then we have our final skill inside of the ambusher tree, and that is haggle. Is pretty much you're a likable person. It reduces all the costs inside of everything inside of the store by 5%. Honestly, once you get this far inside the game, you really should be having a excess amount of money. So just to summarize what I would recommend for you inside of the ambusher: drop 2 points inside of Scent Tinkerer, drop 3 points inside of Spotting Knowledge, 1 point inside of Sight Spotting, 2 points inside of Fatal Attraction, 1 point in Impact Resistance, and then 1 point finally in Pack Mule. If you want to forego using Pack Mule, you can always go through Tag. That way it increases, you know, the amount of time that an animal has been spotted. So then for the Stalker tree, here's my recommendation for that as well. 3 points inside of Locate Tracks, 3 points inside of Track Knowledge, 1 point for Connected Dots, 2 points for Soft Feet, then 1 point inside of Innate Triangulation, 1 point inside of Improvised Blind, and then 1 point inside of Endurance as well. Out of all of these on tier 3, I would highly recommend Endurance and also Improvised Blind as well. Okay, so now let's jump over to perks. So for perks, you actually have rifles, handguns, shotguns, and archery. Primarily, I would really suggest the breakdown that I'll be using inside of the perks. But let's go with rifles to start off with. The first one that we're going to be choosing right here is called Muscle Memory. Pretty much what level 1 and level 2 does is it unlocks the ability to ready your next shot without leaving aim mode for rifles, shotguns, and handguns. So not only does this apply to rifles, it applies to shotguns and handguns also. Level 2 increases the ready speed after firing all weapons. So pretty much what happens when you place a shot and shoot it, it gives you a much faster response time to be able to shoot once again. Next tier we have for our perk points inside of rifles. We have breath control. I would recommend absolutely dropping all 3 points in here, because whenever you hold your breath, it decreases the wobble whenever you're trying to aim. Level 1 decreases your heart rate penalty from exhaling, so that way you don't really like start wobbling. If you've ever noticed inside of the game, reduces the cooldown until your breath can be held again. Level 2 increases that duration before you need to exhale, so you'll be able to hold your breath that much longer. And then level 3 decreases the aim wobble when holding your breath. Next, we have zeroing. Zeroing is probably one of the only active perks inside the game that I recommend. What it does is it unlocks short range zeroing. Pretty much you're giving 3 ranges whenever you're aiming your weapon. Let's say, for example, 54, 160, and 328. I'm not sure exactly if that's quite right. But level 1 unlocks short range, so 54. So this is an active skill. You have to actively press a key to change the range. You don't need to hold it down or anything like that, but just being able to change the range whenever you're spotting an animal. Level 2 unlocks long range. So if an animal is, just say, 300 yards away, you're going to want to choose the one that is closest to the animal or closest to the distance from the animal. So in the event that the animal is 300 yards away, you would switch it to 328 yards, because that is the closest distance to that animal. Again, we have another perk point that is called Steady Hands, and this decreases the wobble whenever you're in aim mode when using any weapon. Even though this is listed under a rifle, this also applies to handguns, shotguns, and bows and crossbows. So my recommendation would be grabbing both of these That way it decreases your wobble whenever you're inside of aim mode. The only one I could potentially recommend on the final tier is focus shot. I was hunting a lot at night and I was using like the infrared scope, and it actually increases the zoom because the zoom on the infrared scope is not extremely it doesn't zoom in really far. So this increases that zoom just a little bit to hopefully give you a better shot. It also applies the iron, red dot, and a holographic sights as well. Our next perk point tree is for handguns. Handguns, the first one right here is just absolutely important, whether or not you're using handguns or not. Again, this ability applies to all weapons. So by choosing sprint and load, it allows you to reload any weapon that you're using while you are running. It applies to pistols, applies to rifles, shotguns, and any archery weapon as well. The other ones we have are quick feet. It allows you to recover steady aim faster after changing stances when using a handgun. Again, you're probably not going to be doing this a whole lot, so I really wouldn't recommend this too much. The bottom one, however, is what I do recommend, and that is survival instinct. So anytime you receive damage from an animal attacks, it's reduced for a short duration after landing in a shot on an aggressive animal. I get attacked by wolves a lot whenever I am hunting on Yukon, so this is one reason I grabbed this point. However, you can just grab this one instead if you really like using handguns. So either or of these work really well. Pretty much what you're going to be getting to is the next point, and that is Ranger. And this increases accuracy when you're gauging distance of spotted animals. This one is an absolute must. And then finally, in the handgun section as well, we have lightning hands that reduces the load times or reload times of all weapons. Each level increases the effect. So whenever you're reloading, trying to get quicker shots off, if you're trying to kill multiple animals in a zone, I would highly recommend lightning hands. Again, that skill applies to all weapons that you use. Then we have quick draw down here. This increases the speed and accuracy of hip shots using any weapon except bows and crossbows. So anytime you're using a shotgun, a rifle, or pistol, it increases your speed and accuracy by actually not going into aim mode. Hopefully, you're not going to be doing that too often. Hopefully, you're going to be taking your time and taking accurate shots while using your weapon. All right, next set of perks fall under the shotgun section. And again, choosing ones from here are what you want to do. The first one is just basically to get you to the next section. And this decreases edge blur when using shotguns with iron, red, and holographic sight. Each level increases the effect. It doesn't really matter too much. It's the blur around the edge whenever you're viewing animals. But the one we're looking at right here is fast shouldering. This increases the speed of entering and exiting aim mode. So pretty much if you have to reload, it's going to take you out of aim mode. And then when you have to bring aim mode back up, this allows you to switch weapons very much faster. And this is one you're going to be looking after. All right, next option is body control. And pretty much what this is it's going to allow you to be able to, when you're rotating weapons or switching from one weapon to another, it allows you to align your sights that much quicker. But the main one that we really want from the shotgun session is the ability called recoil management. Recoil management is going to be absolutely paramount when it comes to shooting multiple animals whenever you're hunting. Like I said, when I first started the game, I had no idea what I was doing. And I was watching a lot of the Calling Wild streamers on there, and they were just taking multiple shots back to back. And I was like, why can't I, why whenever I shoot, is my gun just going absolutely wild on the screen after I take an initial shot? And this is what's going to help prevent that. Recoil management, less recoil when you're using any weapon, and you'll be able to follow up with a shot that much quicker whenever you drop 3 points, and each level increases the effect. So the main one that you're going to be picking up from the shotgun station is recoil management. The final two that we have available inside of the shotgun station are tracer shot. Pretty much it just leaves a smoke trail behind the pellets whenever you fire your shotgun. Gives you an idea of how the spread on the shotgun was. If you're using bird shot, if you're using a slug, it doesn't really apply too much because you can kind of gauge where your shot went out. And then our final ability there is boomstick. It allows you to fire both chambers on a double barrel shotgun. Honestly, this deal is not even worth picking up. Like I said, the main one from the station that you want to grab is just recoil management. Then finally, we have our archery perks. I currently do not have any points inside of archery. Level 1, or the first option, is going to increase the amount of time that you can arrow can be drawn in aim mode before fatigue sets in. And when fatigue sets in, pretty much you start wobbling. Aim is harder to hold, and then followed eventually by you actually drop out of aim mode. Each level actually increases the amount of time you can actually draw an arrow. Next one is for move and shoot. It decreases the wobble that you have whenever you're in aim mode using any weapon. This has potential to be kind of useful, I guess, but hopefully not going to be moving too much while you're using weapons in the game. Then next on here we have increased confidence. It increases accuracy of all bows whenever you're shooting from the hip. So basically like hip shot whenever you're using any other weapon. But however, it only applies to bows and crossbows. Then we have recycle. This ability here will allow you to retrieve arrows or bolts from an animal that you have shot. And also level 2 decreases the chance that an arrow will break upon impact. Then we have our like a pro unlocks the ability to enter aim mode. While you're in pro mode, basically you're laying down on the ground. It'll allow you to raise and aim your bow while you're laying on the ground. Then finally, we also have pumping iron. Increased arm strength means more draw length and increases the energy of all bows, which in turn means more damage penetration and speed using the same arrows. So, just to summarize what perks you should be using. 4 perks inside of rifles. You're going to be choosing muscle memory, zeroing, breath control, and also steadying hands. Inside of handguns, we're going to be using sprint and load, survival instinct, or you can put point and quick feet. But the main one we're looking after is ranger and increase the accuracy of engaging animals as spotted. Then we have shotguns as well. 1 point in both eyes open. Then we drop 2 points in fast shouldering, 1 point in body control, and then finally the main one that we're going to be going after is recoil management. So less recoil whenever you're shooting, which will allow us to shoot that much quicker whenever we're trying to shoot multiple animals in a zone. So there we go, boys and girls. That is my simplified guide for choosing skills and perks inside of the Hunter Call of the WoW. If you want to see more guides like this, let me know down in the comment section below. Don't forget, like, subscribe, you know the deal. But until next time, much love, peace out, and we'll see you soon.